Good evening. I'm 43OG, your host tonight. This is the HEX Late Show. uNrekt is nowhere to be found. He's probably off on a pirate ship somewhere, sailing the Pacific. I've got the crew here. We've got a great show for you tonight. So I'm just going to bring everyone up. Bluey.
Hey, how you going? Hey, I actually hung out with uNrekt this week, or last weekend. Yeah. He came up to where I was, and we hung out. It was super fun.
Tangent. Jexxa.
Hey guys, how are we?
What's up? Oh, let me tweet this out.
Hello.
Hey Sammy, how are you?
Sammy.
How you going? All right.
Yeah, good.
Sammy, what's up?
Hey, what's happening?
You and Jexxa weren't backstage. You guys just got here, hey?
Yeah, no, we snuck in.
Nice timing. I like it.
Trying to sort out all my tech issues, but I think I've made it.
Tech issues, there's no shortage of them every week. Guys, if you're tuning in for the first time and you're seeing this live stream, this is the HEX Late Show. We do this stream every single week because we like to talk about our favorite topic, which is the HEX contract. And that's what we're going to be doing this evening. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to be answering your questions in the chat. And we're going to be talking about other random things. But before we do that, I've got this little clip that I just want to show. And I found it quite interesting. I think I saw it on, it was either Johnny Chaos's or HEX, Super HEX's Twitter.
You understand that market cap's a vanity metric. So I think HEX might be HEX might be the first project in the world to show people how stupid market cap is as a concept. The concept that you could make a coin with a trillion supply, sell one to a friend for $1, and now you literally have a coin whose market cap is $1 trillion. That's the actual math. It shows you how stupid market cap is.
So you could issue a coin. You can issue some coin. Issue a trillion of them, and you just sell one at $1 to me, and now you suddenly have $1 trillion.
So if you're not sure what you just saw there, that was a clip of Richard Hart 3 months ago on a live stream talking about how silly he thought the idea of market cap was. How you could have you could basically create 1 trillion coins, sell one of those coins to a friend for $1, and then you have a $1 trillion market cap. And then what we found as Hexicans, what we found interesting about it was just a couple of weeks ago, you had CZ, who is I believe is the CEO of Binance, the owner of Binance, and he had basically verbatim the same, he was saying the same thing as Richard Hart. So I think Richard Hart's got a fan in CZ. What do you guys reckon?
He used the exact same numbers. Yeah. Like literally the exact example.
We see this time and time again. I've seen the same thing with Mike Novogratz, where Richard's obviously been putting out HEX as a finished product. And I've noticed Mike Novogratz used that as well, but he used it in reference to Bitcoin, which is actually not really finished. They're still tweaking it and changing it as of 2 or 3 weeks ago. They did an upgrade.
Yeah.
So it is actually not a finished product. But yeah, it's interesting that he uses that same vernacular as what Richard puts out there.
There's tons of evidence of things that hexicans, even just the term hexicans, and then all of a sudden other kind of people use the same marketing or a similar marketing. They kind of take what we've been doing.
I put this out to chat. If you're listening in chat and you have a terminology that has been popularized by Richard or the Hexicans, pop it in chat. I can rattle off a few, I think. I'll start with pumpermentals. That's definitely one that's taken the... Yep. What else was there? So there was pumpermentals. The thing I've seen happening a lot lately is sacrifices. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
All right, hang on, RG. I got one. What's that? Hart's Law. Yeah. Well, I don't know if Hart's Law is caught on outside of the Hexagon group, but I'll give it time. I think we'll get there.
You know what,
Right.
I've actually learned so much from Richard Hart. It's hard to remember specifically what are things that I've learned from him and what are things that I thought of myself / learned from other people. It's like I'm trying to think back. I know there's definitely a long list, but I'm just blanking out.
Yeah. FOMO tards. Everyone's got one.
FOMO tards. Love it.
All right, RG. Come on, RG. What's your popularized term that Richard's put out there?
Bluey. So we've actually got a guest tonight lined up for the show. Bluey, do you want to do a bit of an introduction?
Yeah, so we've got a friend coming on, and she's pretty new to the crypto scene. I've kind of given her a bit of a lowdown. Well, it was a little while ago now about the whole kind of crypto and that whole world and HEX and stuff like that. And she's just kind of gotten back to me and said wants to answer a few questions. And the timing was all of us right, so we thought we'd bring her on tonight just to ask some questions and to hang out with us. So without too much further ado, welcome Stella. Hey.
Hello, thank you so much.
Hi, Stella. How you going?
Hey, Stella.
Hey, Stella. How are you?
Hello.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on.
That's a pretty big effort. Sorry, you go, Aj.
I was just going to ask, so what makes you so interested in crypto in general? Like, what is the thing that that sparks your interest?
It kind of just came into my life all the time. Like, people are talking about it around me, and I sort of was curious already. And then I met Bluey while I was working, and he started talking about it. And at that time, I was like, okay, cool. Tell me something about it. And to be very honest with you, a lot of that went over my head. And I was like, that's too many details. I don't know if I can handle that. And then I left it for a little bit. And now I'm like, nah, I just want to know more about this. I need to know about this. It sounds cool. It sounds interesting. And
the curiosity is getting the better of you. Yeah, so let's go.
You're right at the very start of the rabbit hole where you're about to go down the rabbit hole. So it's going to be an interesting journey.
We've all been there.
Cool. Thanks. That makes me feel a bit better. Yeah, I'm so new. I'm excited. I will learn a lot. And I'm excited to learn from you guys.
Mm-hmm. So you're in the right place because you're amongst a bunch of people that have been in the industry for a number of years, and I'm not just talking about us here on stream, but the whole HEX community. Most of them have been around crypto for a little while, so you're coming in to a group of people that are quite knowledgeable, and what's more important is they're willing to share that knowledge, which is good. So I think this is a really good entry into the market.
Cool.
So why don't you lead the way and ask us what you'd like to know?
Well, one question that's on my mind all the time is actually two. So how is it possible that this is such a big thing and it's such a small world of people? And second of all, if I want to get into this, how long is it going to take me to get where you guys are? And what will be the first step that I take or first action?
Good questions.
Yeah.
Great questions. I might kick it off with the first one, and then maybe one of you guys can follow up. So the first question was, why is this, and I'll paraphrase it, so why is this not more widely known? Like, why is it such a small circle of people that
pretty much
know about crypto? Yeah. I think that represents how really early we all are in this space. And I done a presentation for a group of business owners probably a week or two ago now, and the audience was probably 50-50. Half of them knew about crypto and half of them didn't, although they'd heard of it, but didn't really know much more of it other than Bitcoin. And the thing that was evident is they don't actually understand that there's a whole parallel finance system being built out. It's not widely publicized because even mainstream media on general news stations, they only ever talk about Bitcoin infrequently. And when they do, all they're talking about is usually the price of Bitcoin, what it's done. They're not really delving into the details and exploring what's actually going on. And there's a whole, the way I coined it was a movement. So there's a whole infrastructure, financial infrastructure being built out, which will run parallel to the existing legacy finance as we know it. And I think over time, I think this year we've seen some really big strides in terms of adoption and awareness, but we're still right at the tippy top of that iceberg, I think.
Cool.
So just to go a bit deeper on what Jexxa's saying, I mean, it sort of begs the question: why does crypto even exist? So we'll take a step back. Crypto, well, Bitcoin emerged. I think it was in 2009.
End of 2008. Yeah.
I thought it was early 2009 or maybe end of 2008. Around that sort of time, it emerged, and it was this. The idea was that you would be able to have this digital peer-to-peer cash that you could send to someone, and you wouldn't have the problem of a double spend. Like, you know how you can have a program on a computer or a file on a computer and you can just copy it, right? So that was always the problem when it came to the idea of digital cash, that if you made a digital cash, someone would just be able to, copy it onto a file and just, send it to multiple people and just have as much of it as they want. So the real innovation was that they were able to come up with a system that meant that you couldn't double spend the same money. And so that's basically what the issue that Bitcoin addressed, and it garnered popularity over a number of years, to the point where I think it was, it started like at fractions of a cent, but I believe it at some point, maybe in 2000 and when was it, 13, it hit like around $1,000. So that was huge. No, when was it? It was something like that. Someone can bring up a chart.
Well, in 2016, it was only $500.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I haven't got the exact dates, but there are charts all over the place. We can bring one up if we want to. But the idea was that this thing that people thought would not be worth anything, this idea of like holding value in a digital form, over a number of years garnered support and became worth something. And now it's worth, what's it worth at the moment? It's like 50 grand, 50,000 US dollars at the moment for one Bitcoin. The other thing that was like, I guess, revolutionary about it was the fact that they had a limited supply. They have a limited supply of Bitcoin. So unless something drastic happens, there's going to be 21 million Bitcoin. And that's all there's going to be, right? And that is in stark contrast to the legacy system where central banks, whenever the need arises, just print more and more money. So in the last year, I believe the US dollar has been inflated by 40%. That means 40% more US dollars exist in the world than the year before. Mm-hmm. So you see how this can be a problem. This can be a problem for the world economy because central banks tend to have a problem, and their way of solving it is to print more and more of the currency by way of issuing debt through banks. So the idea of digital currency is to the idea of digital currency is to limit the power of central banks to issue debt and create more money. Can I handball it to anyone? Does anyone want to take over from here?
Censorship resistant, value storage and tractor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to answer the one, why don't people know about it? So I think maybe it's an internet thing. Like, you know how like everything's coming online now, like especially like so much over the pandemic. Like, and you'll find that older generations don't really like using the internet. They don't like technology. So I think it's people who are really, really involved in social media that want to learn more, that realize, oh my God, you know, you can make some really good money in cryptocurrency. And once you get a taste for it, it's really exciting because you can make really good money, but you can also lose a lot of money depending on how educated you are, because there's a lot of scams and you have to do your own research. So if you stay
High risk, high return.
and stay up with what's going on, you can really make some decent money. But it's not get rich quick overnight. Like, you know, I mean, it can take years, but you might get lucky, or you might get lucky and not sell out. So there's heaps of factors that would maybe determine how much money you can make. But
I think an important addition to that is that the upside potential is higher than the downside risk typically, and in particular if you pick something that is a quality asset. So while Sammy's right that there's high risk in both, like high potential in both directions, your risk reward ratio is favorable.
And so where is that based on?
Sorry, say that again.
What is that based on? Like how is?
Yeah. Okay. So I think I can give you a good analogy that might help. So if you look at Facebook, when Facebook first launched, let's just say there was one person using Facebook. It's not really valuable because there's only one person on it. But then you get two people on it, and okay, now it's got a little bit more utility. They can communicate, and then you get four people. So as more people join the Facebook platform, it gets more value. And that's a thing called Metcalfe's law. Yeah. So the value of a network, I think it's either directly proportional or exponentially proportional to the number. Yes. Proportional to the number of users that are on the network. And much like Facebook has grown and Instagram has grown, they're very social. So those social media type platforms that go viral, that's the same quality that cryptocurrencies have. Is they start off slow and then it's a snowball effect. So the more people that have the ability to hold the asset on their phone or their computer and then start to use it, gives it more value. So Bitcoin's enjoyed a longer period of time. It's been around 12 years now. So it's got a lot more network effect and a lot more value built into the network. And I think this is like that snowball effect. So we're just seeing that the beginning of the snowball rolling up and getting bigger and bigger. And eventually, much like we did with Facebook or mobile phones or any new technology, there's an adoption curve. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, everyone's got a phone, or everyone's on Facebook, or everyone's got a Bitcoin wallet. So that's the sort of thing that we see drive value into this space.
Jexxa, it's interesting that you raised that because I just had a brief discussion. We didn't get very far with it. Freddie and I were streaming, and I was basically asking the question rhetorically, largely, that with the network effect, it's talking about network interactions, right? So when you mention Facebook, it's like, I can post my photos, you can look at them. But with HEX, you could argue that you can send HEX to people to pay for stuff. But let's be honest, that's pretty rare compared to the main use cases people stake. And that's a bit of a solo adventure. So does Metcalfe's law apply to a network where each person, their interactions with the network is just basically solo and you're not actually really interacting with other network participants?
But it's about growth of users on the network.
There's definitely a network effect when you talk about the community of HEX. So
it's also the price. It's also the price. You have more people coming onto that network buying that thing, goes up in price. So that's where the value comes out. Like
yeah,
the more
I mean,
people involved in
these
the
things
network.
But
are true.
I see your
These things are true,
point,
but I
Tangent.
don't think that counts as network effect. Like, as in, you're both right that those things are good for the price and for the community onboarding and stuff like that. But I don't think they count as network interactions on the network.
But of course
Yeah,
it is.
I think I
selling
agree
is-
with you, Tangent, on that one. I agree with you. But the community does. There has been a network developed through the community, which is, if you look at it, it is unique in the world of crypto. There's never been anything like the HEX community in crypto ever before.
Oh,
There's been,
I
how
agree
is it
100%.
different
Agree
to
100%.
Bitcoin or Bitcoin?
Sorry,
Say
say
it
it
again?
again, Storm?
How is HEX different to Bitcoin?
So let me give you a little
Great
bit of
question.
historical context of
Great question.
cryptocurrencies. Yeah. So 2008, there was the global financial crisis. Out of that, Bitcoin was born. The bankers' reaction to the financial crisis was to print money,
Yeah.
right? So that means that they're devaluing all of the money that everybody is holding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bitcoin came into existence, and it was very volatile. So it went hugely up in price compared to the American dollars, and then it had these huge dips, and it kept doing that for quite a while. And as more and more people came onto the network, it kept doing that big thing. But overall, it was going up quite a lot in value. Then the developers kind of choked the development of it because they didn't want to change it. And so as a reaction to that, a guy called Vitalik Buterin came up with something called Ethereum. That's a new cryptocurrency. Have you heard of that one?
You probably said it the last time that I saw you. Yeah.
So Ethereum is the kind of second biggest cryptocurrency in terms of how well it's known in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on Ethereum, what it allowed to do, it allowed people to put contracts on Ethereum.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
And that meant that people can make up their own tokens. And they could just, and so that's when we had this huge run up in 2017 where everyone was just copy pasting their own tokens, and there was all sorts of promises made, and there were some really good projects, and there were some great ideas, and there were some terrible ideas, and there were scammers coming in, and there was a whole lot of activity, and that caused all of cryptocurrencies to go up in price around then. And then when everyone realized it was all just, a lot of it was fake ass, it all just kind of crashed, right? But it didn't crash down too far. Like it still was up overall compared to when it had come out. And so in 2019, along comes HEX. And so HEX is just a contract that is on Ethereum.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the beauty about HEX is that, well, first of all, it can't be changed. It hasn't got any admin keys to the contract. So the contract is going to be the way the contract is for the rest of time. It is impossible to change that contract.
Immutable.
Right? So that means that we can have a lot of confidence in that contract. Now, what does the contract do, which is so amazing? The contract allows you to send HEX to the contract and stake it. And so you can lock it up for a period of time. And the longer you lock it up, the more yield or interest you earn in HEX.
Yeah.
And as people keep sending it to the contract to lock it up for longer and longer or different periods of time, they're taking it out of the market. And so as they take it out of the market, there's less HEX being sold. And so as more people come into the network and there's less HEX on the market, that's what makes the price go up.
Yeah.
Now, HEX has been going for 2 years. And in that 2 years, we've seen a massive increase in the price. But we've also seen big dips. So it's gone up a lot, and then everyone's sold off to take their profits. But because there's more and more people coming in, the price keeps going up, and then it dips down heaps again. And like there are big shoots up and there are big shoots down. But over the whole 2 years, the trajectory is just like is up. At the moment, from the lowest point to the highest point, it was around 10,000 times the value. But
Bloobum,
and
can I
that,
just jump in here with like a one-sentence answer to this question? Basically, I think Richard said it best when he said, if you want to replace the banksters, you have to replace all the products. And so HEX replaces the CD/term deposit, like in Australia, called term deposit. It's got various different names, but it's basically a savings account where you put your money in and you get rewarded for the amount of time and the amount of money that you lock up. So HEX, the thing that HEX does that Bitcoin doesn't, it has all the same value props as Bitcoin, which is like censorship resistant value storage and transfer, predictable, or like not just predictable, but like actually fixed monetary what's it called?
Policy.
rules.
And then, but then also on top of that, it replaces that additional thing that is required because Bitcoin does not let you lock up your Bitcoin and earn interest like a CD. So that's really the difference.
Okay, so and how, like, where's the risk in that then? Because now it sounds to me like, well, you just invest money and then it goes up anyway. Like then it's...
the risk is that the price goes down because your interest gets paid in the actual native asset, which is HEX. So you still are exposed to the risk of the price of HEX going down.
And then if the price goes down, like if it goes up and then down, for example, up, down, but like overall the line goes up, then is it then like you just wait? Like if it goes down,
yeah,
wait until it goes up again?
The risk that you're exposed to of the price going down is the price that you pay for the ridiculous potential for the upside gain, which wouldn't be there if this was all like dollar fixed. If this was stablecoin type activity, then you wouldn't have the potential for mad gains over and above the interest.
So no one has ever held Bitcoin for longer than, I think it's 4 years, and been in the negative. Like if you bought Bitcoin within any and 4 years has passed, you will always be in the profit. You've always been in the profit, historically speaking. Now, when it comes to HEX, it's shorter. I don't think that anyone's ever been. It's been like a
60 or 70 days.
Yeah. It hasn't been
6 months though.
very, very long at all. But it is early days and it is extremely volatile. Like we're in a dip in HEX right now where our all-time high was 56 cents. And at the moment, I think we're around 14 cents. So that's quite a drop. And there's definitely people out there who, are concerned about the price. But like, if you speak to anyone who's been in HEX for a bit of time, we've been through all these types of dips before. Not at these price levels, but at different price levels. But the percentage dips have been great. Like we've had dips of 87% before. And then it's just really, it's historically speaking, it's just been a matter of just waiting it out and not being tempted to sell the bottom. Like people get tempted for some inexplicable reason. When prices go down, people get tempted to sell out because they get scared. But what they're actually doing when they sell the bottom is they're giving the money to the people who have patience to buy the bottom and wait till it goes up to the top and sell the top.
So are they scared that it goes lower than it already was then? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And people are scared. People get scared when they see the price going down, especially if they've bought higher. But sometimes you just sort of have to grin and bear it until it comes
There's
back.
a difference also. The difference with HEX as well is like when you're holding any other kind of cryptocurrency, you're always sort of sweating as to when to sell it. Like the price runs up and you think, oh shit, it's gone up by 4 times as much now. Should I sell half of it? Should I sell 90% of it? Should I sell 10% of it?
Hey, what's
Good
happening?
morning, everybody. Good morning. How are you? I didn't break into your conversation. You guys are doing great. I'm just,
you sound like you're half asleep, mate.
Where are you?
I'm in California, but I'm in the middle of it, so I I shouldn't be awake. I shouldn't be asleep. I feel that way too. I feel like shit. I just got back and I'm
jet lagged.
Oh, I'm in the middle of that weirdness, and it's like 3 a.m. But I just want to jump on because I fanboy on you guys now. You guys are like the smartest group of hexicans that there is. I mean, Jexxa,
a lot.
That is too kind, man. That is actually too kind. There's a lot.
I'm serious. This group is. You guys are freaking strong. Day 43, and then Sammy coming in here and slapping you guys all around. I love it. So, only thing we're missing right now is
balance. Great balance.
Yeah. And so and then freaking Tangent, dude. You're a fucking legend, dude.
Thank you, man.
Brilliant.
Thank you for having us on your channel.
Well, thanks for being on it because you guys actually make the place smell a little less worse. So
we love you too, G3. We wouldn't be here without you and DS.
Oh, thank you. And well, I'm sorry. The first thing I should have said was welcome to the lovely lady who's here. I don't see the names. I can't see people's names. Stella, thank you for coming on and welcome to
Captain.
Our little pirate ship here.
So the reason why RG is a little bit tired is he's just come back from London where there was the 2-year celebration for HEX. So it was HEX's 2nd birthday. So they went over there for a party, and I think he's feeling the after effects.
Yeah, we put 2 years of partying in 5 days. So it was
awesome.
Oh my goodness, what an amazing trip that was. So I've never been to Europe. I've been all over the world, and Europe is, for some reason, I never been to Europe. Only out of necessity did I travel. I didn't travel for pleasure or whatever, but it was amazing going back there. London is a freaking magical place for me anyway, because I like danky, wet, ugly places to visit, like I'm an alley visitor. I like going in the alley, and there is nothing more danky and wet and ugly than freaking London. And it just welcomed me, and I felt so good there. And I had this hotel that like stared off into it. It was this big, glass walled suite, and I could see all of London and its dankiness. It was awesome, and I loved it every second of it. But and then the people, the European people were just freaking phenomenal. If I don't have COVID, I have 40 other diseases because they just they hug on you and nuzzle you and spit all over you, and then it's like, oh my gosh, when you go into these pubs, they're all these little small old ancient buildings, and everybody's just holding on to each other, and it was just and I tell you, I took more pictures with all of you amazing hexicans out there. So if you are in Europe, man, I freaking love all you guys. So here's one thing though, if you're Irish, Scottish, or from Liverpool, Liverpool, wherever that is, I can't understand a fucking word you guys are saying. I didn't catch any of our conversation. I was just nodding, smiling, and patting you on the back. But I can tell what you're saying came from the heart, and you guys are great, man. But you guys gotta learn, either wear a spit mask or something. But when you guys talk, it's like. But what an amazing time! And then meeting Richard was the pinnacle of the whole thing, and I got to spend a couple of private dinners and outings with him, and all I can tell the whole community, and I'll explain this in detail on the effing hangout on Friday, but we are in something extremely special when it comes to who that man is. He is everything that you think he is from what you know, he is and more. And he is an amazing, kind-hearted, caring human being, and that's who we have in Richard Hart. And I can't say enough good things about the guy. He's phenomenal. So it's gonna be a cool show on Friday. I'll explain the whole thing. I don't want to hijack your guys' show, but I wanted to jump in real quick and say something about the networking effect. So I'm a networking expert of over 15 years, and I've done network marketing businesses and networking on the side. Now, see, the networking model, because of Metcalfe's law, is extremely powerful and works. Unfortunately, in the network marketing community, the extracted value from those from those companies and products and the people behind them made that situation turn out just like crypto. So let me explain what's happening here, guys. There's some very powerful tools coming together. Networking, cryptocurrencies, all of these things are very, very powerful tools, but have been hijacked by the worst actors at first. I think cryptocurrency has been hijacked by hucksters, fucking PT Barnums and stuff. I think there's only two true cryptocurrencies out there, and that was Bitcoin, Ethereum. And that is exactly for the reason that you just explained, is that Bitcoin proved that the double spend can be fixed. Ethereum proved that cryptocurrencies can be programmed. They both failed at doing that properly, but they were the first beginnings of the technology, something that's supposed to be growing, moving, and becoming better and better and better all the time. And we as human beings are supposed to be embracing the new technology and pushing the old aside. That's what's happening here. And that's what HEX did. HEX fixed Bitcoin. HEX fixed Ethereum with Pulse. So we are about to see cryptocurrency change, morph, and turn into something that it was supposed to be, which is HEX. And I've said this from the beginning, because if you fix the money, you fix the world. That's a saying that a lot of people use in crypto. But see, crypto's broken. Crypto needed to be fixed. HEX fixes cryptocurrency, and Pulse gives it a way to do so. So we are on the precipice of greatness, because all the things that the fiat world, see, the fiat wants to marry crypto, but it can't. There's too much resistance right now. There's too much scams going on. I know this because I'm working in the background with real financial institutions, with real people that want to bring crypto to the world, but they can't, because Bitcoin sucks and Ethereum's broken. They can't put, all they can do is create speculative products like Wall Street has done for years and years and years, and created this whole new mess of what cryptocurrency is. There's no use case in that yet. HEX gives cryptocurrency a use case. HEX fixes money. There is no inflation model like HEX. HEX takes inflation model and stands it on its head and gives the world something that they can actually utilize as a income producing tool, as a yield generating tool. There is no yield generating tool on the planet like HEX. It's immutable. It does what it does. You're always going to get a return. And that return is based on how many people are actually, or how much network effect is happening. So, and then there's even a little bit of game theory in that too, when it comes to the OA and all, we don't need to get into that too deep. But now that we've got Pulse coming, that means that fiat products and the real world out there can actually marry into crypto, because that's what we need. We need to be able to use cryptocurrency as a currency. Bitcoin can't be used as a currency. It sucks. It's like gold. It's like going into a store and dropping some dust on the fucking counter and saying, hey, give me a pack of fucking smokes, right? It doesn't work. Bitcoin is that way. They have proven that, it's like digital gold. It's worthless and a big fucking rock is what it is. But HEX fixes that. It gives you a way to have a currency, and it also allows you to make yield, which are the two things that you need to have money, real money, not just currency. There's a difference between the two. So the network effect on all of this is, once we start to marry real fiat products, once we could put this on everybody's lap, once we can have an easy onboarding process, not so goddamn confusing that you guys have to go out and have a drink afterwards because you're so. Look, I talked to some people in London who are new Hexicans who are onboarding their first friend, and it took them 5 hours yesterday. 5 hours to get HEX in that person's wallet. So from 0 to HEX, it was 5 hours. And it's an absolute freaking nightmare. We've got to fix that. So Pulse can do that. It can fix that as long as we can get on ramps and all these other things going. And there's not ridiculous. I mean, what bank or institution or anybody's going to get involved in something where they're charging? You said it was how much for the fee? $300, $800? I mean, that's just doesn't work. So Pulse is going to fix that. Hex is going to be able to travel on a road that it was made to be traveled on. And then we're going to be able to marry other products into it. At that point, we're going to have what's called the network effect. And the network effect is important. It's powerful. And it started here, like you guys said, with this community. So cryptocurrency is supposed to be the world's currency, but it has to be done by word of mouth. It can't be done advertised. I'm telling you this right now, because you are the most powerful presenter of anything, because the networking, look, it's kind of like this. It's like, okay, you're going over your mate's house for pizza and a beer and watch the movie, right? But you wake up that morning and first thing you see on your counter is, and I don't know what kind of regular pizza joints you got there. We got this place called Domino's. It's fucking absolute crap pizza. It tastes like cardboard.
Yeah, we got that too.
Ketchup on it. Oh, you guys got it too. Okay. So that wasn't a hit on Domino's. Sorry, Domino's, if you advertise on us. But anyway, but you wake up and there's a piece of paper on the counter from a newsletter that came in, or from a letter that came in, and it's giving you a discount on Domino's. You ignore it, whatever. You threw it in the trash. You get in the car. The guy on the fucking radio is talking about Domino's, right? You hear Domino's again. And you see an ad up on the side of the freaking freeway, and it says Domino's on it. So all day long, you're being bombarded. You get hit a couple more times on the radio. Maybe you turn the TV on when you get home. Your buddy calls you and says, hey, man, what are we going to do today? Let's get some beer and some pizza? Yeah. Well, you say, well, what about Domino's? And your buddy goes, no, fuck that shit, man. Playhouse Pizza is the best pizza in town. So let's go get Playhouse. Okay, let's get Playhouse. Guess what? They marketed the fuck out of you all goddamn day long, but your buddy changed your opinion because you trusted that person, and that person knows what they're talking about and you care about them. That's what the networking effect here is doing. It's putting the power into people and in the network, and that is what cryptocurrency is all about. So what did we do here? We started streaming, we started talking, we started onboarding our friends and our family, and we started to create a network effect. And now what do we have? We have multiple people sitting in little boxes like the Brady Bunch, talking to each other all the time about this amazing, life-changing cryptocurrency. And that's the truth, man. I mean, that's what's going on here. Is the networking effect is happening, and it's going to be our biggest. It's going to be our biggest marketing tool, guys. I'm telling you. Metcalfe's law. Do the math on it, man. Do the math on Metcalfe's law for real. It's that penny over it. Before you know it, it explodes, and it has. You know what I mean? At first, it's slow. It's chug. It's one. It's two people. But then once it starts turning into the masses, like I'm watching it happen right before my eyes, guys. Where the YouTube is full of all you beautiful Hexicans. Beautiful, man. It's just like I got people coming on my channel. I don't even know who the fuck they are. And it's like, wait, that's my channel, and there's 3 or 4 people streaming here now that I don't even know who they are. Haven't met them yet. You know, like I was watching Tangent for so long, thinking how brilliant he is. I turn around and he's been on our show a few times. I'm like, holy shit, that is so cool. You know, and they're just coming out of the woodwork, and it's going to keep happening. Why? Because we can. Because Hex backs us up every time. It has never failed us. Anybody can get on stream and talk about Hex and look like they're brilliant, because Hex is never going to fail us. Look, I'm the one that
look like a
proved
genius
that concept,
in the future.
man. I look like a goddamn genius. People were thanking me all damn week, you know, saying, hey, this guy is amazing. No, I ain't shit, man. You guys did it all. I just fucking rode your coattails. Turn on the button. That's all I did. I'm nothing special. You guys are. Because you guys are
you're being modest, RG. You did.
No, dude, I'm not modest. I know who I am, man. I know who
you
I
did
am,
a lot,
where I
mate.
came from. I just
you
turned on.
made all this happen, mate. You brought it together.
I pushed a button, bro. That's all I did. I opened the thing up for you guys to talk, and I was like,
yeah, but
I was the ultimate thief in Hex, man. I stole all your guys' good ideas. I got all the credit for it.
Yeah, but you put in a lot of time and effort, especially having a family. You put in so many hours, and you made some new friends. But look at what you've made. You know, how many new friends have you got, and the whole network. And we love you guys, D3.
I love all you guys.
And I love Domino's Pizza. Sorry to add that, but so does Mango Junkie.
So the network effect, in a sense, like it was Tangent was talking about, right? It's true. There is no networking effect in the process itself and in the technology. It's not going to create that. That's not going to create a marketing tool for HEX and Pulse. It's not. It's the marketing and the word of mouth is what is supposed to be what brings an innovative, world-changing product to market. It will never be the man. It will never be that system that they built, because that thing sucks, man, and it sucked for a long time.
Well, the big issue is that they can't insert themselves into the middle of this to make money off of people.
They will.
Oh, no, they'll try. Definitely, they'll definitely try, but it won't be from the core protocol of HEX. There will be wrapping services around this thing.
And there's going to be a bunch of them.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
There will be a bunch. Hey, you know what? I mean, more power to them. I mean, everybody's trying to make a little bit of money or trying to build things on the side. I mean, we're trying to build things. Now, because the captain is in charge of the things that we're building, I'm putting my heart and soul into it. I'm saying, hey, nothing's going to come to the Hexican community unless it's vetted through me and it's doing exactly what it's got to have the same vibe. It's got to have the same integrity as HEX. Period. End of story. Too much is given, much is expected. So if we're going to bring a product to market, it's going to be something worthy of the Hexicans. And if we don't see anything that's worthy, then we're either not going to say anything about it or we're not going to be a part of it. So you've got to be very, very diligent in what's happening, because you're right. We're on the precipice of everything changing. So we're going to see a lot of things come across our desks, and everything from scams to amazing products are going to come out right now, because now for the first time, like I said, the real world can use cryptocurrency, and HEX is going to prove that. Watch, mark my words to this day, mark them, because HEX is going to make crypto available to the masses, and people are going to be able to use them and have a reason to use them. So, yeah.
I think there was a point in time when I think all of the guys that got into HEX early pretty much knew most of the other guys. Like, it was within reason. Like, you obviously didn't know everyone, but you had a pretty good understanding of most people. And I think we've seen that, and this is the whole networking effect. We've seen that grow exponentially now, and with the addition of PulseChain, the community has just gotten so big. We're seeing streamers come out that were never part of the original HEX community. They've come along just for Pulse. It's good to see. Like, it's brilliant to see that we're seeing all these new people, all these new faces pop up. Really hard. You used to be able to watch every single stream that happened on HEX, and those days are long gone. Trying to keep up with the Pulse side of things as well that's you're never going to be able to do it now.
Never going to. Never.
It's fun though.
That was epic. RG, the stuff that you just said, particularly at the front end part of what you were saying, was epic. Love it.
Oh, you mean about Bitcoin and Ethereum?
Yeah. When you started talk like that whole bit. Yeah, that whole bit.
Yeah, because see, everybody wants us to still look at crypto like it's something viable. And you know why? Because a lot of big motherfuckers got a lot of money invested in it, and they need it to work. Like Michael Saylor, like, look at this guy's history and what he said about Bitcoin. And then, like, I was talking last night to Jason Hartman, and this guy's brilliant. And he was talking about Michael Saylor and his books and all these other things. And they were talking, and I said, well, why did you guys buy it 19,000? Why did you guys buy it 5,000? If you're talking about, this thing changing the world and blah, 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 why did you guys buy those? Did you see something there to change the world? See, this is where I call them all out, because BTC is all it is proof of concept. It was proof of concept is all BTC was. And that's the place it should be in the real world. But these guys put so much value and so much time and effort into buying this shit and pumping the price of it that they can't let go of the fact that it was just a concept prover. And that's where it needs to be put in place at, is it proved that something like HEX could exist. That's all it did. And it's broken, it's old, it's dilapidated, it's bad technology, and we shouldn't be using it. But thank you for proving the concept. It has
I'm not necessarily saying I agree, but I did enjoy your analogy where you slayed the whole, it's digital gold. It's just as useless as gold. Pet rock. That's the pet rock shit.
And it is. And then Ethereum is the same thing. It proved that you could program money, that you can make it do something like HEX does. But it failed as a transport network, obviously. They still can't fix it for some reason. Well, Pulse is going to fix that. And thank you for proving that you can make these cryptocurrencies programmable. So another step in the technology. And we're still advancing. And now here comes HEX and Pulse. Now we're going to prove to the world that, hey, you can have a currency that inflates at a different process than everything else inflates in the world. And you can have a road for it to travel on, a blockchain that works, functions, and gives us the ability to onboard people easily. So when the problems aren't with the button pushing and the front ends of everything and the wallets and all that. That's stuff people can learn. The problems are when they start charging you, $400 or $500 for a transaction. The problem is when they gatekeep you and hold your money for weeks at a time. Those are the things that hang us all up, is those things that are broken over there. Now, if we could come over to this side and fix things, make things fast, make things cheap, look, people know how to push buttons. They know how to make computers work now. It's not too hard to do that. But if there's all these problems and gatekeeping and stuff in between, then that's what makes it difficult. Like I said, it shouldn't take somebody 5 hours to get somebody some HEX in their wallet. That's a big problem that needs to be fixed. So HEX and Pulse will fix that. So it's been a progression of technology,
5 hours sounds extreme, man. I can't imagine how that could take that long.
Well, somebody just had a broken Trezor the other day, and I was helping them fix that. It took us 2 hours to fix the Trezor.
If it's involving like setting up hardware wallets from scratch and stuff like that, then fair enough.
Yeah, and flashing them, and then
oh my god, explaining how it works.
Yeah, it's
like helping someone through until to the point where they actually are comfortable with using the tech could take hours. That's true.
Yes,
but there's also decisions. There's also decisions you have to make about security and stuff, aren't there? And so in order to have people make informed decisions, you have to go into explaining the differences and what the risks and benefits of each one are. And because it's not a simple kind of decision to make, And,
absolutely.
You're making a decision to hold value and be the custodian of that value. And we're all used to deferring to a third party. That's what we've grown up with, that system where we put our money in the bank and there's third party. And then, if the bank gets broken into, we still get our money. That's not our problem.
Most times.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm guessing in Australia and the US, it's like this. Maybe in some other countries, it's not. But I think that's the big shift, is that you need to be in control yourself, and you're the one who's responsible ultimately.
So we've absolutely smashed Stella with a whole wave of information.
Okay, I'm gonna jump off.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Thanks for.
I didn't want to hijack the stream, but London was great.
Thanks so much for coming on, RG.
No, Dave,
we love having you on, mate.
You're the man.
We love having you on.
Take care,
Thanks,
mate.
guys.
Thanks, RG.
I'll see you guys. Let's see, how do I exit? I don't even know how to exit. I'm just gonna slam the thing in. See you.
See you, mate.
Hey, RG.
See you, mate.
So that was probably a little bit of overload for Stella. So I just want to try and bring it back a little bit. Is there any other sort of questions or queries you've got, or things you'd like us to try and help you with?
So I have so many questions. It sounds like network marketing now for me, but is it like you help each other. So imagine I'm on here now. Like if you invest in HEX, do you want other people to invest in that too? Does it work like that?
I think.
So-
can I just jump
Yeah.
on this? I think we need to separate the technology from what we're actually doing right here. What we're doing here is we're just a group of people who are talking about the technology and trying to get the word out about the technology, and the HEX contract. But as far as the tech itself will operate regardless of us. You know, it will just tick along, and whether we come on stream or not, it will continue to work and function flawlessly. We just come on because we think this is something special, and we've spent quite a bit of time, each of us, learning about it, learning what the functions of the contract are, and how it all works, and how to use it in the best way possible. So we just like talking about it, and we like spreading the word.
Yeah, I think you can take this back too. So if you tell a friend about Facebook, is that network marketing? So
well, I'm more wondering, like are you just passionate about being able to, or have the chance to make a lot of money, or is there like a bigger vision that you have above that?
There's a bigger vision. So,
but the money's
okay.
good.
The money's good as well. Yeah. So
the money side is good.
I'll tell
you.
I'll tell you the journey that most people have when they come into this space. And there's even a meme about this. But so most people come into this space for what we call the mad gains. They just want to make money, and sometimes that's just enough for people. And they come in and they might go to an exchange, buy some Bitcoin or whatever they choose, and hopefully sell it for a profit. Happy days, good on them, well done. But if you hang around long enough and you take the time to understand what's actually going on, you realize it's much, much deeper than come and make some money. It's about, and we keep saying this word, self-sovereignty. So being responsible and being in control of your own finances without having to rely on banks or anyone else. So you don't have to ask someone's permission to hold some cryptocurrency. You can travel across borders with that without having to, I guess, log into a bank account or something and access your funds, and the risk of that not being available to you. So there's deeper layers to it.
Peer-to-peer transactions, transactions without having a third party manage it. Like I could send you value, and then you get the value. I can just send it directly to you. You get it, and there's no one else involved in that transaction. Just you and me.
So with HEX, you can just transfer the money, sort of.
That's
in the HEX. You can transfer the HEX.
Yeah, that's inherent in most cryptocurrencies. So most cryptocurrencies do that as a minimum. You can store some value in them, and you can use them as a means of transfer. So I can send value from me to you. Now, some cryptocurrencies... That
doesn't mean they're a good store of value, though. It just means you can choose to store value.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, so most cryptocurrencies do that. Now, some cryptocurrencies try to do a little bit more, and don't want to go into that too much. And something like HEX is just a really good, safe store of value and a means of transfer. But it also is that savings account where it pays you interest, it pays you yield. So that's the big thing. It doesn't try and do anything too tricky. It's just a good, solid store of value.
Well, there is the geopolitical side to it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And that is that like throughout time, governments have printed up money, and that's how they've funded wars. That's how they funded armies, and that's how they've controlled masses of people. And by taking the power away from them and having and because what HEX does specifically is that it monetizes time. And there was someone, I think, in the chat before, like talking about how can HEX help the poor. The way that it can help the poor is that anybody has access to time. That's something that's universal, no matter what your background, no matter what your country. it's the one thing that every single human being has equal access to, apart from age, right? But and so you locking up your money, because it's such an amazing amount of interest the longer you lock it up, what it's doing is it's allowing you to monetize your own time. If you lock it up and wait for it, you will get a lot more. And you give it time. So not only do you earn interest, but you give it time to go up in value as well. And
we should call it inflation. We should really call it inflation, because that's what you're getting paid. You're getting paid the inflation in the system. So at the moment, I think there's like 570 billion tokens, HEX tokens.
But hang on, before we go into those,
that's getting pretty deep.
Like what it does is it aligns incentives. And so it's harnessing, this is the way I see it, it's harnessing human greed for the greater good. Because what happens when people lock up their money into the future is that it gives them hope. It gives them hope and it gives them purpose, and they can start planning for the future. But when you have a money which is losing value by holding it, which is what happens when you hold like Australian dollars, like we know that's going to go down in value because of inflation, right? Because like things are going to keep costing more. So just holding it, it's going to lose value over time. That means that you panic and you have this anxiety and you have to constantly go out and be trying to earn more money because it's a scarcity model. Because the banking system, the way it's set up, is that the governments print up as much money as they want, they lend it out to people, and people have to pay back more than the government had given out. So it's this constant rat race of scarcity, and people have to go out and work more. And not only that, but they also tax you on the other end. I mean, they really crunch you from both sides. So something like HEX, it can like when they say change the money, change the world, it has the power to change the world. And the way that I see it happening, like this is the future, and so who knows what's going to happen in the future? It's all just our imaginations, really. But like, imagine that people like us get incredibly wealthy, and then people that we tell get incredibly wealthy, and then because we have so much wealth, we start putting it out. We get giving it to other people where we think it is needed. That way, we go around governments, and so rather than being dependent on governments, the people take back control. And so that's why it's like I think it's revolutionary, and it's hard to imagine as well, because we've been in this system of government printed money and scarcity for so long.
Can I just summarize that as crypto is a beautiful bait and switch where people come selfishly for mad gains, and then once they're here, they realize the ethical attributes of what it can be done. So like demonetizing corrupt governments and banks and becoming financially independent and self-sovereign. So, and it's important that it has those two aspects, because if you have something that's freaking amazing, but people don't pay attention to it because there isn't that sort of like insta desirability about it, then it will never take off. So having both, it's almost like it has its own game theory that was perhaps accidental that is going to change the world.
And just in terms of, like about what advantage do we get about telling people about HEX? Like we all hold HEX, right? So the more people we tell about it who end up buying it, that's more buy pressure, and that sends the price up. So we directly benefit from that because we're holding this HEX, right? So there is that benefit to us by getting the word out.
Because you hold it and there's more people that want it, so the value goes up.
Yes,
that's the same. That's the same with most assets in the world. It's supply, demand, scarcity. Bitcoin is exactly the same.
It's important. It's important to note what Jexxa is saying here, that some of the stuff that we have said can sound a little bit like pyramid-y or Ponzi-ish, but it's not like that. Like, so just to be clear, like that, you know, some of that stuff might require deeper, more detailed discussion for the nuances. But at this point, I just want to state that some of the stuff that sounds like that, where it's like, hey, like the more people that we can get in, then, you know, the more money everyone makes. That's not the structure here. It sounds like that, but that's not the deal.
Well, it is, but it is in a good way as well, because
but not in the scam way that
because it's a free technology. We're incentivized to tell people about it, and we're incentivized to have people understand.
There's no direct benefit that anyone receives from the person that they are onboarding. Everyone within the network benefits equally from the new network participant. So it's not. So that's why it's not a pyramid scheme, and it's not scammy, and it's
not like referrals.
There's no.
We benefit. Can I just make a point? Just we benefit in the same way that as a homeowner, I would benefit from saying to you, you should go buy your own home and live in your own home.
Negligible.
Like that. It's like I benefit from that. Like generally,
more
because
buyer pressure.
There's more people wanting to buy houses because I'm saying go buy a house, but it doesn't like actually put money in my pocket directly, if you know what I'm saying.
But we also benefit in a way, like when I go out to a park and if I teach acro yoga to somebody, and I get them to have better skills, then I have someone better to play with, and then if they teach somebody, then all of a sudden we have a group of people who have more skills at something, and so we can do more things. So it's just that basic human. That's the real networking effect in a way.
So would you say it's like an away from fear, as in like the system and the matrix is pretty like based on fear. That's why people stay in there because they're scared of losing something. And this is
well, governments use fear to control people. And so a scarcity-based system where it's based on fear. People have fear that they're going to run out of money. And so in an abundant system where people have hope for the future, that's freeing people from fear.
So I want to address two things. The first thing is that just crypto in general. Why are we so bullish on it? Why do we think it's this thing that's going to just do well in the future? I think I'm right in saying that we all see like digital money as like censorship resistant digital money, I should say, as being like the internet was in the 90s. It's like very, very early on, you know, and we're all very, very bullish on it. We think it's just going to keep growing and get bigger and bigger over time. So that's just the one point I wanted to make. But the other point I want to make is if you look at what's happening with the value of assets in the world. So for example, if you look at the value of a house 5-6 years ago in Australia, the value of that house may have gone up, you know, by 50% in the last 5 years. Now, if you're talking about a $500,000, $700,000 home, whatever it is, you would not, or you would have struggled to save the money to cover the appreciation in the cost of that house in the last 5 years. So what happens is that when more money enters the economy, it goes to where it's safer. It just automatically it sorts itself out and goes to where it's safer, and it's safer in assets. It's not safe being in cash. So it goes into things like houses. It goes into businesses. And it goes, now that you've got this digital asset that is out of the purview of governments, it goes into crypto. And that's what's been happening. As they print more money, it's like there's a leak in the system, and that leak leads directly to things like crypto. And the money is just going to keep, as long as they print the money, it's going to keep flowing into crypto. It's going to go places, but it's definitely going to go to crypto. So I just wanted to point out those two things.
So does
And
this
this
mean
is-
there's an abundance anyway around
What's
money? Does that mean there's gonna be an abundance anyway around money?
there is an abundance already of money, but it just means that everything costs more. That's the abundance.
You're not the beneficiary of that abundance because the money you hold shrinks relative to the amount that's getting put out there. So your purchasing
need to
power of
hold
the money you
assets.
hold. Yeah.
If you hold assets, then those assets are going to be worth more in terms of that currency that's just getting inflated, that they're just creating more and more of. So there's this good example, right? This might explain it like really well. It's a good example of Europeans, like, I'm not sure when it was, maybe a few hundred years ago, going to Africa, and in Africa, in like some communities, they had these little glass beads that they used to trade in, and they were quite scarce, and they used that as currency. But then the Europeans went there and saw these glass beads, and they're like, I can get heaps of these glass beads. So they basically went back to Europe, got all these glass beads, sailed back, went to these places in Africa, and just bought up all the resources with all these beads. All these guys in Africa were just like, yeah, sure, I'll sell you all this stuff for these beads. These beads are great. I love these beads. Not knowing how many more beads were now on the market. Right. So they all ended up with these glass beads, and the Europeans ended up with all the resources. So although those guys got all these beads and they felt rich, they actually weren't, because when they went to go use those beads, everyone else had lots of beads as well. So
yeah, there's multiple examples like that throughout history. The society with the higher tech and the harder money wins.
Hard money. That's a good term to. I would say that's a good term.
Can I also add that it's smart money as well? So our money is changing as we progress with technology. So is money. So, like take an example of many years ago, they built a computer and they taught it how to play chess, and they ran this computer and they programmed it with so many ways to win. And then, so they had a person playing the computer, and then all of a sudden the computer made its own strategies to win the game because it was so smart. So it's just an indication of saying, well, yeah, people are smart, but computers can be smarter. So that's why smart money is becoming more popular, and it's more intelligent than our old,
That's not quite true, Sammy. Like, artificial intelligence has two kind of areas. One, it's where like computers just can crunch the numbers, and that's what Deep Blue, that chess computer, did. It just was able to like play out all the different scenarios of the different chess moves, and it was really Gary Kasparov, the guy who was playing that computer, because he was really him under pressure and cracking under pressure, which really lost him those games. But that kind of artificial intelligence is different from what's called general intelligence, and that's what humans are really good at, and that's what computers aren't good at. And so we can take lots of disparate information and put it together, and sometimes we call that our intuitive knowledge, or sometimes we can just we can make weird connections with things, and computers are terrible at that. And the more inputs that computers have, the less intelligent they are, because they can't handle complexity too well, whereas humans are a lot better at that.
There's an awesome interview between Jack Ma and Elon Musk, and Jack Ma shits on Elon Musk, saying, he's like, bro, you don't try and have a running race with a car. Like, when humans create something, yeah, sure, it can be better than humans at something, like a car is better at moving fast than a human running. However, it's made in that it's like it's special purpose. You're never going to have something that you can't create something better than you. Like, I'm not saying I necessarily agree with it, but it's just an interesting thought.
I agree with that as well. I mean, take mathematics, for example. I mean, how many human beings use computers every day to calculate, and how quick are they? Whereas a normal human being to do something.
It doesn't mean that calculator is smarter than a human. It doesn't. It just means that
is.
Well, in that
one task.
one specific purpose of calculating reliably on simple mathematics, then yes. But it can't do anything else really. So it's an interesting thought.
Calculator's a tool.
And you know what else is interesting? Like after they developed those chess computers, they started developing computers for Go, which was a Chinese game. And I read a really interesting article where, because the computers were coming up with these really novel tactics, the people who were training the computers started learning from the computers. And so there
they
was
became better players
from
watching the machine learning.
Yeah, so there's this interactive thing going on where as the computer gets better at it and finds different tactics, better tactics, the humans understand those tactics and they get better as well.
Can I add a bit of comedy to the stream? Sorry, you go.
Say it again.
Isn't that a matter of programming?
Yeah.
How we program the computer, and in fact, our brains are programmed too. That's how we are in the system, right?
That's pretty deep, but it's true. We do get programmed to act in a particular way. That's human psychology, I guess.
Yeah.
I think look what's going on in the world. I think you'd have to argue that
exactly. So that's why I'm wondering, like, is this like this system at the moment is in so much fear that people think they have to do certain things, like the bank, like make sure your money is safe in the bank, but actually, like, that's just something that's made up by other people, right?
It's exactly right. You're fed someone else's narrative.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think the evidence of how much media is controlled by a few, and that few can disseminate whatever message they like to the general populace. That's scary. That is really scary.
Yeah.
So I guess if you were to sum up everything what the crypto space is about, it is about taking back control of those aspects.
Yeah.
And particularly with finance, because that's what it's really good at, because it's just numbers. But it's going to move more into other things as well, where we're seeing things in the metaverse. You've probably heard of that term now. That's probably straying a little bit from where we need to cover tonight, but that's essentially what it is. It's about removing control of middlemen and people that are able to influence or you need to beg their permission to do something, and getting that back in your own hands. And
changing our relationship with governments.
With governments and with money, yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then imagine it's going to be really successful. Like what is going to happen then? Like is then the world going to split in, like, the government and the people with crypto and HEX, or is HEX going to take over and everyone is going to live a free life, or what's
Yeah. So okay, that is a really good question, and I know you might be being a bit flippant, but I done a presentation the other day, and I had the word revolution, and I actually took that out and I changed it with evolution, because I don't think you're going to completely, or it's going to take a long time to unseat the system that's been put in place. It is very, very entrenched. There's a lot of legal fictions that we've created as humans that mean things are done a particular way. So I think that is very hard to move. But there's an evolution taking place alongside that, where there are people that have switched onto that very early. They're the early adopters and they realize what's going on. And over time, more and more people will transition across to that. Maybe over time, it does get to the point where we don't need to rely on banks, and they can become like the old telegram was. No one sends a telegram these days anymore, do they? Because there's a better technology and a better way of doing things. And maybe that's part of that evolving process that we're going through, which may span decades, probably even longer.
It's very hard to know the future.
It is.
And in the end, it's all just your imagination. So, like, what
is for now the purpose individually to be in HEX? Is that to make money and break the system, or what is? the goal with that?
It's probably a bit of both. Yeah, it's probably a little bit of both, I would imagine. There is people have made good money out of HEX, and I think they'll continue to make good money out of HEX. But that's because of the technology and what it affords people. It affords them that freedom from the current system that you get told whether you can play in it or not. You've got to beg and plead to play in that system. In this system, it's free and open. So the fact that it's growing rapidly means exactly what Day 43 said, is there's a flow of money from the legacy system, of value from the legacy system into this new system. And the banks and governments are concerned about it because they're watching that actually take place before their very eyes. And it's still very, very early. Like, we're talking less than 1% of the people on the planet that would be a part of this system.
Is it working against each other?
Sorry, go on.
Is it working against each other? Like the government and HEX, is it going to be...
They don't need to.
Yeah, they don't need to. Yeah.
No. Look, the guy who created HEX is, look, in my opinion, probably one of the smartest dudes in crypto, and just a very, very smart guy, full stop. Like, he's a very, very smart guy, very switched on.
He is a
very
actual genius. He is provably
he's
a genius.
He's
especially in this field, in this field.
And so he's actually, for the last 2 or 3 years, he's been, I guess, mentoring all of us on his live streams, and teaching us about what is good crypto and what is, not good crypto or fake crypto. And we've pretty much all in agreement that good crypto is things that are, for the most part, immutable, censorship resistant, don't have administrative keys where people can go in and change things, and they serve a purpose, replace something in the legacy system, and remove middlemen from rent seeking, and taking profits unnecessarily from the users in the system. So this is sort of the ethos we bring when we're talking about crypto. But for the most part, this is not what goes on in crypto. Most people are in crypto just to make a quick buck, and it's almost like this huge casino that they're just playing. They're just playing, trading in and out of this, trying to, they're leverage trading. They're doing all this stuff that really has nothing to do with the ethos of what crypto's here for. So I would say that if there's anything that distinguishes the Hexagon community from almost any other community in crypto, maybe apart from, I know Bitcoiners are very a lot of them are very much like this. What distinguishes us is that we really have some very basic, fundamental ideas about why crypto is a good thing for society, and the good things it can do for society, done the right way. And that's, as I said, in stark contrast to what else is out there. There's a lot of crap out there, a lot of crap going on. Yeah.
So how do you separate the crap from not crap?
Yeah, you learn about it and you understand it, and you get, you hear lots of different people's opinions, and as a thinking person, you discern where the truth is, and there's also, you look at the world and see what happens, and you look at what has happened in the last couple of years and stuff like that. And just going back to what we were talking about, like, governments they're going to governments and banks are going to try to maintain control. And the more they lose control, the more they're going to drastically try to maintain control. So that's kind of what we're seeing in the world at the moment, you know. And in terms of what they do about crypto, the definition of a good crypto is something that the governments can't do anything about. That's what censorship resistance is. That means that they can't go and arrest someone and stop the whole thing. It means that they can't go and say, right, you have the wrong political beliefs. You're not allowed to have access to the money. Like crypto is there so that for freedom, so that people can do those things, so that a journalist can write things that go against what the government is doing and not be not have their bank accounts taken away from them. You know, so we are going to see like some like governments and people, because they're all in fear. Governments are full of people who are in fear. They're probably the most fearful people in our societies. We've self-selected the biggest idiots, the most fearful people. Like they're the people who they desperately want to be popular. They're the people who are the most easily manipulated because they're desperate to be manipulated. They want, you know what I mean? I mean,
they're easily bought. They're easily bought with
manipulated through a number of means.
I mean,
whether that's
through donations. Like if you donate enough to a political party, you know, you can sway things in the direction that you want them to go. You just have to donate enough money to them.
I just want to touch on something that Mango Junkies put in the chat, and this is a point I was about to make is on this planet, humans are the only animal that have made up all these constructs of law and ownership and all this sort of stuff. Every other beast on the planet doesn't play by those rules. So we've created our own little prison, essentially, where we've created all these rules and laws that we need to abide by. And over time, these have gotten more and more, I guess, entrenched and more cumbersome, more red tape. We see this happen every year. Now, the thing with crypto is it removes all of that legal fiction, because all we're talking about is some software code with some rules in it. So if the government wanted to shut down HEX, there is no legally registered company or person or entity that they can actually send a letter to under their legal fiction and order you to do something. So when you remove that concept, that legal fiction that everyone plays in, and we're playing in a completely different system or no system, then they lose control. They've got no levers they can pull. They can't lock the code up in prison using fear to get you to do something, because that's essentially what incarceration and things like that is. It's fear to stop you or to get you to behave in a particular manner. Now, some of those, if you're going to harm someone, okay, that's probably reasonable. But there's other things where, I don't know, you don't pay a parking fine for a year and they will use fear to make you pay that parking fine. Fear of going to jail for not paying that, not abiding by their rules that they've set up. So that's the big thing about crypto and what it brings to the table is it removes that construct.
Cool. I like that.
You're getting hit with a sledgehammer tonight, aren't you, Stella?
Hey, one of the things that distinguishes HEX from a lot of other cryptos is that we have so many stats. We've got so many websites with information and graphs and things. Does anyone have like one of those sites? Like a good one is one of the good ones that I like is Look into HEX?
Lookintоhex.com. Yep.
Look into HEX.
Yeah,
Can someone bring that up?
Day 43, interest as a broad comment. Every time we have ever had this discussion about why is HEX amazing or what sets HEX apart, the list is actually so long that we always forget at least one or two massive components of what makes HEX amazing.
This is
always.
Yeah.
And later I'll be thinking about it and I think, holy shit, we forgot to mention, we got this, and this, but we forgot to mention this. Like that's how many things are incredible about it, is that you can't even keep the entire list, not even the big ticket items, in your head at one time. Like that is in itself says something massive about it.
Yep.
Because this is another one that we didn't talk about last time, is the amount of on-chain analysis that can be done with HEX exceeds any other crypto because of how it's structured.
There's nothing like it.
Can you break that tangent? Can you break that down? Because Stella probably doesn't understand the term on-chain analysis and things like why is something like that important just in lay terms?
Oh, so basically, with crypto, it's the first time that there's been a much, much higher degree of transparency on what is actually occurring on the network. With virtually every other thing historically, like in legacy finance, there's a massive black box where you don't really know what's going on, and you have to trust. I guess you have to trust like intermediaries. You need to trust institutions at their word on what is going on, and
governments at their word,
and governments. But with crypto, it's depending on the crypto, but like in general, cryptocurrency is like very transparent. The blockchain, it screams everything out publicly. There are no hidden aspects of what's going on, and HEX has basically taken that to the next level in terms of stats and charts and things that you can create from the on-chain data, which is is that public information.
So a good example would be and I'll keep picking on the government because why not?
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, if they could print their own free money and go buy arms or spend it however they like, backroom deals, whatever they're doing, and we as the public know nothing about this. It's shrouded in secrecy. If we're lucky, we might get to see it years or decades later through freedom of information, but it's very cloak and dagger, a lot of what goes on. Everything that happens on the blockchain, if I send funds from one person to another, you don't know me by name that I've done that, but you can see the transaction and prove where the money has gone, where that value's transferred. So there's within this system, there's no hiding of funds, or you can track and trace everything that's happened, which is a double-edged sword, I must admit. But that's what these systems bring, is ultra transparency and public view of what's going on.
And I'll just add still, and crypto, a lot of people are interested in, the government side to it, what the boys have talked about. And, I think the main thing is, and I'm in it to make money, and I'll openly admit that, and I care that the number goes up. And so does the founder of HEX. He's very big on being open and honest about why he's in crypto and what everyone wants it to do. And that's the reason I'm in HEX, because I want to make money, and it's working. And that's why we do the show every week, because it's...
Can I ask you a question, Sammy?
Yeah.
What are you going to, if you make a bunch of money, what are you going to do with it?
Well, pay my bills first, but we all have dreams. And I've made more money in HEX than I thought I ever would.
Okay, so let's say, and you've got so much money you don't know what to do with. Like you've brought all the things you could possibly buy, the cars, the houses. What do you do then?
I think for most people, the first step is financial freedom, right? It's like no longer being a slave to debt, no longer being a slave to your boss, no longer being a slave to your clients. Like ultimate financial freedom is literally, and that's where the term fuck you money comes from. It's like you can literally say fuck you to every person you ever meet in your life, and it will not impact your existence. Well, socially it will impact it, but it will not. It will not.
Yeah. You're not going to get good coffees, man. The barista's not going to make you a good coffee.
I think also when you can look after yourself, you can look after your family, you can look after your friends, and look after any charities that you support. You can basically be a big contributor.
Sammy,
so that's
your economic energy where you want it to go. You can support the things that you believe in. You effectively have.
So I just want Stella to understand where Richard, when he created this, the place where he was coming from. So the place where he was coming from is he wanted to do a lot of good in the world. And as an individual, he can only achieve so much. But what if this one individual can make hundreds of thousands of people independently wealthy, and then they can go out and do good in the world? So he wants to use that network effect of this product to make people wealthy so that they can actually go out and make the world a better place. Because currently, having the wealth to be able to do that can be a big showstopper. So when you free people's... So every day, if you have to get up and you've got to think, okay, where can I get enough money to feed my kids, keep the roof over my head? All your brain cycles are in survival mode. But if you can make people financially free, then they can start thinking about what they can actually bring to the world and what good they can do in the world. So you've got to free people from that tunnel vision where they're just in survival mode to be able to do that. So that's that moving from that scarcity mode of thinking.
Yeah, I really like that, because that's like literally my mission. Like I believe, and that's why I'm passionate about fear as well. I'm really passionate about like talent and power and like confidence and that kind of stuff, because I noticed in the world there are so many people that live their life what Tangent said before. They're a slave of their boss, they're a slave of their family, they're a slave of the government, whatever. Yep. And then when you ask them, hey, what do you actually want in life? They're like, I don't know. And I'm like, what? Yeah. Like, what kind of system did we create that people don't even know what they want themselves, but they live a life that other people want them to live, or they think they have to live for some reason?
There's an anarchist I follow where he said he went around asking people, who owns you? Like who owns you? And he reckons the most common answers were my parents and the government. And he was just like, what the actual shit?
Yeah.
Like no one even thinks of themselves as a self-sovereign human being, like an entity unto themselves.
That's a shame. That is a shame, man.
I can talk about this for hours. Like,
if you're on that train, then this is an easy pitch. Like crypto is literally the most important tool when it comes to to reclaiming and maintaining your self-sovereignty. Because if you don't have self-sovereignty, if you don't have financial independence and sovereignty over your finances, then you don't have anything else. It extends. You don't have freedom of speech if someone can cut off your bank accounts. You don't have freedom you don't have freedom unless you've got control, like sole control over what you can and can't do with your money.
So this is where the freedom actually comes in, and why it's so easy when it comes to crypto. You could just learn 12 words. So this is the security model in crypto, right? Pretty much. The 12 words that you have can recreate your private keys, which secure your wealth, right? As long as you learn those 12 words and you can memorize them, you could just leave the country, not have a computer, not have a bag even, just have the clothes on your back, leave a country.
Just boardies and thongs.
Yep. And just have those words in your mouth. And when you get to a different country, you would be able to recreate the secret that would allow you to sign transactions and access that value again, just with those 12 words. And that's what makes it powerful, because all of a sudden you don't have this value residing somewhere with someone else that you have to go ask their permission to access. You know, so that's pretty powerful, you know.
So would you feel confident to have no money on you and just using the crypto?
It's difficult to live like that.
No.
It's getting.
Some people have tried it. In fact, years ago there were a few case examples where people would say, okay, I'm going to spend the next month, 3 months, 9 months, literally just living off crypto, just to see, A, if it could be done, and basically documenting their experiences on YouTube of how hard it is. Obviously, now it's a lot easier than it was in, say, 2017. And, I think people were largely cheating where they were basically, leveraging off their friends and family to basically, get them to get them food and then just give them crypto or whatever like that. It's and even crypto credit cards don't solve that issue.
Yeah, 100%. You can't at the moment, and that's because
we're moving in that direction.
Money has two basic attributes. One is a payment system, and another one, which is separate from that, is a store of value. And so HEX is a very, very good store of value. And I think what will happen in order to pay for things in the real world, we need to go through the Australian dollar. And the governments have those choke points.
Wait, here's the thing, Bloobum.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
What's going to happen as cryptocurrency becomes bigger and bigger as a store of value, and more people use it because it's such a better store of value, then that will create a demand for other people to want to just go straight to the crypto. So in the future, you'll get coffee shops and shops they'll work out how to get payments through crypto.
Bro, I've got a checkmate comment on this. The main one that people used to say, including governments, banks, etc., they used to say, your cryptocurrency is never going to get accepted as taxes. That's what makes the fiat currency important, because you always will have to pay your taxes in the currency of that country. Wrong. There are now places that accept cryptocurrency for tax or are planning to accept it for tax. And that was basically the strongest argument they had, that you're always going to have to pay your taxes in dollars. So that's why you need fiat currencies. And that's already, you're seeing those dominoes fall right now, literally currently. So it's game over, as in my opinion.
Okay. Even if that was the case, so let's look at mobile phones. So there was that tipping point where mobile phones, first we started off where they were carrying the big brick around, and it was the size of a suitcase, and a guy carrying his phone around. Not very usable, but if you had that phone, you could make calls wherever you like, but you were probably calling a lot of landlines and things like that. Then over time, more people got phones, and that's exactly what we're seeing in crypto now. Is you're getting more people with the digital wallets in their possession. So the more people, shops, whatever, end up with these digital wallets in their possession, that's when you don't need to go and touch native currencies like Aussie dollars or US dollars. You can transact peer-to-peer, wallet to wallet. Now that's, if you still have to come out every now and then to pay your taxes, so be it. But if you can do the majority of your life in the world of crypto, and then whenever you've got to pay your
And is it actual money that you can take out? If the value goes up, can you actually take it out?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people ask, is it like real money? And it is. Because you're buying cryptocurrency, it's like buying US dollars and then the value going up and you selling it and making money. So you're buying a currency and you can cash it out for real dollars. The thing that I like about it, I'm a mum of 2 girls, and I recently cashed out some crypto and paid my school fees for next year. And so I work full time, and as probably yourself, you got bills and, the money only goes so far. But with crypto, you got a little bit extra if you learn to really, make a bit of money. It's taken me 4 years to come into profit. So it's been a while, but now I've got, I can pay for other things. I can go on a holiday if I want to go on a holiday. So it's that extra, although I don't live on it, I only really cash it out when I need it, but it's there if I need it,
This is exactly what I was talking to an hour ago, where I said most people come into this space for the mad gains, and the first question they come up with is, okay, well, how do I get my money back out? And it's when they come into the world of crypto and then they actually learn and understand what it's about. They're not necessarily interested in getting their money out because they see that this is a good a place to store your value, because it is not getting eroded away by the inflation that's getting printed in the legacy system. So people will take out what they need when they need it, but they use crypto as that primary place to grow their wealth and their value.
So what is, like, if you wanna start doing that, like, for example, Sammy, how did you decide that you wanted it, and what amount of money do you put in?
So when I first started back in 2017 and found Richard Hart, you have to follow Richard Hart because he's amazing. That's the genius who founded HEX. So I started watching him, and then just investing in a whole range of different cryptos that I found on just the local exchange. And I went in like right at the start of a bull run in 2017. So I was putting money in and it was going up, and I'm going, what? It was like being in a casino. So I kept putting more in and more in. So I turned 15 grand into 60 grand within a month. And then like, I could pull it out, but I didn't because I'm stupid and greedy. So I rode to the top, and then it slid back down, and then my 15 grand turned into a 6 or 7 grand or whatever it went. But I didn't sell. I held on for 3 years in the bear market, and now 4 years later, HEX mostly has made me, like, you know, given me the power to be in profit. But you know, there's so much to learn too. Like I've been in the space for 4 or 5 years, and I need to learn more about taking profit and everything, because even though you might make money, you got to learn about, you know, selling at the right time, and that's also another really difficult thing to do. But there's money to be made, and I've made money, and you can make money too. And I mean, I know probably Blue will say get into HEX, and you know, it's a really good time to get into HEX because the price is cheap. But you are going to pay those ridiculous gas fees. But having said that, you'll get the bonus of having coins on both chains. But PulseChain, when that comes out, it's like starting at zero. And, you know, I think that's a really good place to start. And Bluey will be able to tell you all about that.
Can I just jump in here? In relation to PulseChain, at the moment, HEX, the HEX contract is operating on the Ethereum network. And what Richard Hart is going to do is he's going to create a copy of the Ethereum network in a new network called Pulse. And basically everything that existed on the Ethereum network is now going to also exist on the Pulse network. So if you were to buy HEX and have HEX before this copy is created, you'll get a copy of whatever HEX you have on the Ethereum network on the Pulse network. So it's what is referred to in crypto as a fork. It's where the blockchain is forked, and there's a certain point, block height, where this chain continues on, and then there's another one that goes off.
I can sum it up for you. It's free money.
It's free. Okay.
It's like having a $1 bill and photocopying it, and now you got $2.
Cool.
But they keep the value.
Yeah, but there's volatility. There's volatility.
Take on.
Yeah, it is.
There's volatility,
and that's why I don't want to swamp Stella too much.
But I guess
the simple way is you register with an Australian exchange. You hook your bank account up to that exchange. You send your Australian dollars to the exchange. You swap it for if you want to buy HEX, you need to buy Ethereum on the Australian exchange. Then you send it to a wallet that you control the keys of. There's a few different options that we can talk about later if you want. But basically, you send it to one of those wallets where you control your money, and once you've got it there, you can swap it for HEX, and then with HEX, it's probably advisable to go ahead and stake it. And that's the basic, like ABCD of how you get from Australian dollars to HEX.
I'm not going to lie, there's a bit of a learning curve. And I still remember when I got involved in crypto, it's a little bit overwhelming because there's a lot to understand. But the sooner you take those steps, the easier it gets. It's like anything you do in life. You just got to roll your sleeves up and have a go. It gets easy very quickly, but yeah, it's a little bit of learning involved.
Cool.
That's for sure.
So what would you recommend to, like, me? if I want to get into this? Like, how do you start? What is the first step?
You probably
so
need to have a jump on a call with Bluey. Bluey will probably be able to point out the best way to, because there might be a few things you need to do before you can actually get started. Like you'll need to set up an account with an exchange. That's like an online account. And that might take you a day or two to get all that stuff done. And then once that's done, then it's a little bit easier. So it's, I'm sure Bluey will be more than, willing and able to direct you.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And then as far as how much, like what you invest, I mean, that's really a personal thing. I mean, everyone is different. You do what you feel comfortable with. I mean,
what would you guys say?
One thing you don't do is you don't spend your rent money on you don't do that. You make sure you can cover the essentials.
In terms of like having, because there's a number of fees that you're going to have to pay along the way to get from Australian dollars to the HEX. And so what would you guys say would be the minimum amount you would advise people
at
the moment?
Bare minimum, I reckon you're looking at a couple of $1,000, to be honest, to make it.
Like $2,000, huh?
Yeah,
that's rough.
I think.
That's still rough in my mind, man. That's still like...
It is. It's still
rough.
And
the percentage fees are just end up being... The fees that you're paying end up being such a large percentage of what you're putting in. I don't know. I mean, it depends what you're comfortable with.
But just to get your feet wet, though, just to go through the learning process and not get absolutely trounced, then I think that's probably, you could probably get away with it. Obviously, I reckon $5,000 is probably more comfortable in terms of offsetting fees and things, but you can do it with 2.
There is one other option. It's not great, but like Matcha has, you can set limit orders and have gasless transactions. Yeah. However, the way they work is, so this is why it's not ideal, is the way it works is basically it waits for the price that you have put in as your limit order to be far enough past that price that an ARB bot can pay the gas fee and still be in profit. So basically what ends up happening is, say you say, I want to buy HEX at, I'm going to use dollars, but it would typically be, I guess it could be the USDC pair. But so say you say, I want to buy HEX at 13 cents. If the price dips to 13 cents, your order won't get filled. It would have to go below that for an ARB bot to actually pick it up. And so depending on what network you're on, if you're on ETH and the fees are high, it actually has to go significantly past that. And the smaller your order is, the further it has to go past for it to make it worth an ARB bot to pick that up.
I just wouldn't. I wouldn't do that.
At least it means it means if it does really crash hard and then bounce back, your order can get picked up, and it'll seem like you didn't pay fees to buy the coins, and you're getting them technically at the price that you wanted for no fee. It just means it had to move past it to get it to happen.
I think
that's an option.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to make it easy. So there's someone in the chat, very, very generous, DHexian, who said he will send you some HEX, Stella. So if someone will actually give you some HEX if you go through the process of setting up a wallet.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we'll
very generous of DHexican. Very generous.
Good on you. I'm assuming it's a male. I'm making an assumption here. So whoever you are, male, female, that's a really generous offer.
Cool. So how do I? So yeah, who's that?
You'd know he was a male if it was Hexican D, but it's.
Oh, damn it.
So yeah, awesome. So I guess that sort of shows you the sort of community we're in here. Everyone just wants to see people do well.
Cool, that's awesome.
Hey guys,
well,
I'm out.
To do some homework then, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The boys are here to help. You got Bluey. Bluey knows everything. You'll be sweet with Bluey, but I'm out. I've got to get up early for work too. It was lovely to meet you, Stella. Good luck and happy investing. Hope we see you
Lovely
again.
to meet you. Thank
See
you
you,
so
Thanks,
Sammy.
much.
Sammy.
Take
Sleep
care.
well.
Always
Good
good
night.
chilling with you.
Thanks.
Bye.
See you.
You know what I think would be really, really good is to have Stella come back on after a few weeks, after she's gone on a little bit of a journey and learnt a little bit about HEX.
Yep.
That would be awesome to have you come back on again and just see what new questions you've got. And yeah, I think it'd be really good to see how you grow from that.
Yeah, and just tell us about what the experience was of actually like doing everything.
It's a good check for me too. Good motivator.
Yeah.
To actually tell you what I've learned.
So, D-Hexian, we're going to have to try and get some contact details via...
D-Hexian, why don't you write to me, or to my Telegram, Bloobum, and we'll be in contact, and I'll be in contact with Stella, and I can hook you guys. I can arrange it all.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome, man. You're a legend. It's really a really
Good
awesome
stuff,
offer.
mate.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
very
thanks.
generous.
Now we do something as a tradition every week. We do something called Oracle of the Week.
Oh, hang on.
So,
I better get ready.
Actually,
Give me
43. Before you head into that new topic, I just realized I never thought of that. That OTC is this. I know that this is a gift, but it has made me think. Where if you buy HEX off an actual hexagon OTC, then you could kind of like split the difference, because obviously the fee to just send it is a lot less than using the swapping debt. Like on the DEX, the contract it's a more complex functionality that the gas fees, it's just more gwei. So if you found people who were willing to do OTC stuff, then it's a little bit more, there's trust involved, obviously, whereas on a DEX it's trustless. But if it's in small amounts, then it could be another option.
Yeah, you just have to trust the person. Yeah.
And all OTC means is just like it's direct peer-to-peer.
Over the counter,
you're just buying off another person directly, where they send you the coins.
Yeah, and Bluey, there is Poloniex has a Plan C as well. If you find
true. There's centralized exchange. HEX is on several centralized exchanges as well.
Yeah, I'd have to get this. But how do you get Australian dollars? You get Australian dollars to Poloniex?
No, I don't think you can. I think it's crypto only.
So you'd have to buy Bitcoin and send or Ethereum and then.
That's a tether pair on there.
But at least it would allow people to BCA in.
Yeah.
Cal W is also.
Oh, guys, you're amazing.
Do you mean coming up with all these options, or none of them are none of them are ideal? Actually, like there's no easy answer here, because the ETH fees. Typically, if the ETH fees weren't so high, then it would just be straight to a DEX. But we're basically having to think of workarounds because of these high fees at the moment. But yeah, centralized exchanges. That was one thing. I did actually go back to centralized exchanges, maybe in 2020 for a bit, when I swore I would never go back. When we had this problem with ETH fees going nuts, I was like, okay, I'm going to start using these centralized exchange accounts for some of my trading. Because at least then the fees are low, relatively speaking.
So Cal W, if you just want to contact Bloobum on either Twitter or Telegram, and he can connect you up with the address.
Do it on Telegram. It's Bloobum, just like it's written here. Is it written there?
No, we've got more people offering this. Oh, awesome!
Yeah, Cal W is offered as well.
That's awesome, guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the name Bloobum, just as it's written there, @Bloobum.
Yeah.
Guys, we've been going for a couple of hours now. I think if we want to quickly do the Oracle of the Week, and then maybe we can wind it up, unless you guys have anything that you want to talk about or address.
No.
You let me know, Jexxa, when you've got.
I am almost ready.
So last week, our Oracle of the Week was Tin Top. Was the Oracle of the Week last week?
No, wasn't it Young and Wild or whatever it was, because he had a weird name?
Young and Wild. What did we rename him
Actually,
to?
yeah.
Trevor.
AKA Bitch Tits.
Bitch Tits.
Bitch Tits Trevor. All right. All right. So this week's Oracle of the Week is the Mango Junkie.
Oh, legend.
I know he's in
Mango
chat.
Junkie. Well done.
Love that guy.
Mango
So
Junkie.
The pick was
he's been on my stream once.
Yeah, Mango Junkie's awesome.
Yeah, so
Love that guy,
13.4 cents was
legendary.
the pick.
By the way, he has his own channel now. He has his own HEX streams. So follow him. Big shout out.
While we're talking about shout outs, Cabana's channel on this, for us, it's
the anniversary,
Saturday.
hey?
Yeah, so he's been streaming for a year, so he's having a 1 year anniversary. That'll be on Saturday Australian time. So yeah, cool. Get along and support Cabana. It's nice and early for us. All right, so yeah, Mango Junkie is the Oracle of the Week. Oh, Sammy Chica, she's not on stream anymore. Doesn't count anymore if she's not on stream, does it?
I'm not sure if we have that same rule for us. Do we? Do we have that same rule for us?
Nah. So Sammy did take it this time.
Okay.
All right. So I'll get the link out I'll put the link in the private chat if you guys can send that out. I'll just stop sharing that. So if someone could just post that in the chat. So yeah, guys, the link to place your votes for next week is coming out. Yeah. So if you can get your votes in.
What's going to happen this week?
Okay, Mango Junkie. I have to apologize to you, mate. Unfortunately, I can't add your name on the screen because there is an issue with Restream, but I'm going to type you in the chat and I'll do it myself. Mango. Let's be honest. The best thing about being Oracle of the Week is you get to see your name in lights.
So what does that mean, Oracle of the Week?
Just every week we try to predict what the price of HEX will be the next week. Yeah.
Cool. Funny.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. Can I I'm going to say, can you put one in for me, Jexxa? I'm going to say 15 cents.
Yeah. All right, give me a sec. I'll just...
What do you guys pick?
I said 17.2.
I said 18 cents.
I can't even remember.
So what was yours? Day 43, 15?
15.
Okay. Done.
No, I thought you meant what our pick is for next week.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry. I thought we were talking about what we picked last week.
No, for next week.
Oh, next week. Ooh, let me grab a chart. I'm just going to do a bit of TA. Yeah. click. $1 million.
Well, at least it's not
throw me down for like 23 cents.
So I'm everyone's guest bitch now, am I? All right.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
right,
if you've got the doc open.
All right. Okay. What did you say, Tangent?
23 cents.
23. All right. Done.
Oh, 23 cents.
By the way, I believe, for me personally, that the next weekly close is going to be a strong indication of whether we are still in a bull market or whether we have turned bear. So basically, our next stream will be, a day and a half after that close. And so by then, I'm going to have an opinion on whether we are bull or bear. So that's going to make a massive difference on future predictions or whatever. But for now, because I think we're still bull, I'm going with a bull target.
But even if we go bear, I mean, how much lower? Like, what's your bear scenario?
For HEX,
how much lower do we go?
The whole market
for HEX. I mean, because HEX has already seen like a huge drop. We've already seen a huge. Where are we at? 75% down.
Yeah, it's like 70. What's this? 75%. Yeah, savage.
Yeah. So you would think that if
it's ludicrous to drop that far in the middle of a bull market. Like, that's ludicrous, and we are bull. I'm still convinced we're in a strong bull market. Like you guys should see total cap and ETH charts. They are bull as.
Like it is such a good time.
It's like
to
this
take
did never happen.
No, but it is such a good time to take those things that are like doing really well and swap them for HEX right now. It is the best time because you're getting such a good deal.
That is a good point.
You're selling the high of ETH for the low of HEX, and it is the best deal you can get.
Yo, seriously, that's the king move. That's the baller move. Is going the opposite of what people, are thinking. You know what I mean? Like, as in, it's at the moment people they want the coins that are going up and they don't want the coins that are going down. You've got to flip that mentality. And yeah, 100%.
And do we want to have a quick look at the chart, Tangent, before we sign off for the night?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I can show you this one that I'm talking about. This is total cryptocurrency market cap excluding Bitcoin. And so check out how this dip, this is on a daily chart, right? So within the day, we went down to like almost just a bit below 1.1 trillion, and it just got ate right back up to like 1.35 trillion. And so if you look at the structure of this chart, here's the highs, and we're basically back at the highs. Like, so, I mean, I want to get back into this box or above it, but we're effectively there. We're like the price now of that total cap is effectively now above all of this price action that can act as support. So to me, this paints a very bullish picture of the overall market, right? Especially the size of these wicks to the downside that just got lapped the F up. So that makes me very, very bullish. If you look at ETH, similar shit going on, right? Like, so here was the previous high. We're above that shit, right? So ETH what, 4,350 at the moment. This is, if you didn't know there was a macro event that crushed all markets, you would look at this chart and just be like, bull time. Let's effing go, right? And then HEX, obviously, this is the 75% drop. This is the channel that I'm watching right now, and sort of these white arrows are kind of like my likely worst case scenarios, that we go down to 13 cents and then come up, hopefully break out of this channel and move up. So yeah, I mean, look, we are in a downtrend. We're making lower highs and lower lows. This is on hourly, by the way. The other charts that we were looking at were all on the ETH one was on the daily, the total cap was on the daily. This one's on the hourly. Let's just get out of this downtrend and then see what happens. But the main thing that I've been saying all along is I'm not concerned about the HEX price, provided that the overall market stays bullish, because then it would just be insanity for HEX to keep going down while everything else is going up. It just doesn't make any sense. So the only thing that would scare me is if we saw weakness in the overall market, and we are definitely not seeing that currently. So that's about it. Any other comments, Jexxa, you want to make about this sort of stuff?
No, I think you summed it up nicely, mate.
Thanks.
All right. Awesome. Guys, we've had a great stream. I want to give a massive shout out to everyone in the chat. You guys are awesome. You're always contributing. You're always active there. We love you for it. And I want to thank Stella for coming on. Really appreciate someone with your level of experience coming on and asking the questions. It's good for us as well to get those questions and have to respond to them. And I hope that you got something out of it. And yeah, please stick around after we stop the stream.
Yeah, they were great questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you so
does
much
anyone?
for having me. Cool.
Welcome. Anyone else? Any last comments,
Yeah,
words to say?
I just want to say one thing. I got a couple of t-shirts this week, and this one is like super awesome. These
That's
ones,
cool.
so I just wanted to shill, like, it's from T Public, TEE
Man.
Public, hey.
The Zen Spaceman.
Yeah.
I love it.
Spaceman, hey, and really good
Very
quality,
cool.
fantastic quality, like t-shirts, heaps of colors, heaps of different designs, all some really interesting, like, cool designs and stuff. So yeah, tpublic.com, check them out. Yeah, just I think it's a good place to get some bit of merch from if you want.
I just tried to type it in, it didn't work. Is it T-public or
TP?
So TEE public.com?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so TEE. I just did literally the letter T. Sorry about that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
What's the site? Sorry, I'll type it in the chat.
T Public. So
T
TEE public, all in one word.com.
Yeah.
So this is a bit like Redbubble, where basically people can just submit designs and then other people can buy their designs. Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
And it's got the thing here that says designer sign up.
Yeah, and it's an Australian one. It's like if you're in Oz, it got sent within. It was in my place within 2 days.
Nice.
And they're only like $20 each or something, like these t-shirts, but they're awesome quality.
Yeah.
Really good prints.
Very similar to Redbubble. Yeah, sick. That's awesome.
All right, guys. Thanks to everyone here. Thanks, Jexxa. Thanks, Tangent. Thanks, Bloobum. Thanks, Stella. And thanks, Sammy. We will see you next week. And yeah, thanks again to everyone in the chat. Make sure you buy the dip and see you next